Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Friday night to you, wherever you may be. We're certainly in the eye of the storm. It's the Dodgers and the Padres at Dodger Stadium. Game one of the four-game series, and kind of a dream matchup as Greg Maddux strides to the mound to go up against David Wells. As we mentioned a little while ago, Wells has won 229 games in his career. Maddux has won 330, so altogether 559 games between these two great competitors. For Greg Maddux, a four-time Cy Young Award winner, he will be facing the following Padres: Dave Roberts leading off in left field and Todd Walker at third. Brian Giles hitting third in right field. Mike Piazza coming back to go up against his old ball club. He'll be behind the plate. Adrian Gonzalez at first. Mike Cameron in center field. Jeff Blum playing for the injured Khalil Green is at short. Josh Barfield at second base, and David Wells on the mound. On the mound for the Dodgers, Greg Maddux. Pitching at Dodger Stadium, he has a great ERA of 1.5. He is 0-1 this year against San Diego. But what really gets your attention in his career, he has beaten San Diego 23 times. He was also 3-2 since being with the Dodgers, so that brings his record for the year up to 12-13. Did Greg Maddux ever face David Wells? Yes, once before, back in 1995, a National League Championship Series. Maddux was with Atlanta. Wells was with Cincinnati. Maddux won the ball game, and the Braves went on to win the World Series. But that's all history. Now, tonight is the night, Josephine, as we begin the series with Dave Roberts, followed by Todd Walker, and then Brian Giles. Dave, left-hand hitting left fielder and center fielder, playing left for the Padres. In his last ball game, drew the collar, went 0 for 5. But if he gets aboard, he puts a lot of heat on everybody with 42 stolen bases. That's about 15 back of Jose Reyes of the Mets. So Dave checking in, and Maddux' first pitch is low and inside, ball 1, 1-0. So Maddux working against Roberts. Roberts hitting .286 against him, and the 40-year-old rocks on the rubber into the windup, and the 1-0 pitch, and that's a little low, ball 2. So 2-0 the count to Dave Roberts. Roberts does not bring a lot of power to a ball game. He has only 2 home runs. But he has 41 RBIs and 42 stolen bases. He looks at a strike, and the count 2-1. The fall has arrived, and with it all the tension and the excitement of a pennant race and a drop in temperature. 66 degrees here at Dodger Stadium at the start of the game. The 2-1 pitch to Dave Roberts, and that's taken low and inside, ball 3, and the count 3-1. So Roberts just trying to get aboard any way he can, and he does very well at that, with Todd Walker, another left-hand hitter, on deck. Roberts, by the way, has walked about as many times as he has struck out. 3-1 pitch is high, ball 4, and so Dave opens up with a base on balls, and Todd Walker will be coming up. One of the things Greg Maddux admires about pitching for the Dodgers is the defense. Well, he has Garcia-Parra and Kent for Call and Lugo, Anderson, Lofton, and Drew, and Russell Martin making his 100th start at catcher this year. 100 out of 118 games since he came up back on the 5th of May. So Maddux turns, throws to first, driving Roberts back on the bag. For Greg, of course, he will be constantly worrying about Roberts, a big threat. But at the same time, like all big pitchers, he has to worry about the hitter, Todd Walker, batting .279, 7 home runs, 49 runs batted in. Maddux set at the letters, turns another throw, and Dave diving back. One of the more interesting aspects of this game of baseball is to have a veteran pitcher like Maddux, a Gold Glove, and a fine base stealer in Dave Roberts. Roberts wants to see the best move to first that Maddux has without being picked off. Maddux set, ready, works his hitter, and floats it in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. All of the hitters on each team fully aware they're not going to see any power pitching tonight. In fact, they checked the fastball for Maddux was clocked at 82. 0-1 the count. Walker, a veteran left-hand batter, 7 home runs, 49 runs batted in. Roberts goes, the pitch, a strike, the throw, short hopped and got him on the tag by Rafael Furcal. Roberts disagreeing with the call by Tim Welke, but he's covered with dirt and goes back to the dugout. Tough play for Furcal because Martin's throw was at the bag but in the dirt, and Rafael was able to short hop it and tag him on the ribs. Now Roberts thought his hand was on the bag before the tag, but it appears as if replay, Welke's call was correct. Ground ball to Jeff Kent, throw the first, and just like that, 2 down in the first inning. So Dave Roberts thrown out trying to steal. Todd Walker grounding out. And the batter now is Brian Giles. So Roberts in the dugout, not accustomed to being thrown out. And for Dave, only the 6th time. He's 42 for 48. And the pitch to Giles, a little roller to Jeff Kent. He has to wait for Garcia to get to the bag and makes the play. So despite the leadoff walk to Roberts, it's a 1-2-3 inning, and at the end of half an inning, no score. Padres failed to score in the first inning, and the Dodgers coming up now against David Wells, and here are the Dodgers on the card. Rafael Furcal opening up at shortstop, Kenny Lofton in center, and Nomar Garciaparra at first. Jeff Kent hitting cleanup at second base. J.D. Drew hit that 3-run home run yesterday and is the big RBI man on the club. He hits behind Kent. Julio Lugo with a left-handed going will be at third. Then you have Martin behind the plate. Marlon Anderson is going to be in left field tonight for Andre Ethier. Greg Maddux on the mound. And on the mound for San Diego is David Wells. His nickname is Boomer. It was given to him by Lloyd Mosby when he was pitching for Toronto. He is 6'4", 245 pounds, and he wore a T-shirt in spring training that said, "I beat anorexia." Well, that gives you an insight into what kind of a guy David is, and he's going to work now on Rafael Furcal. The veteran left-handed deals a bunt off the mound as Wells picks it up close to first in time for the out. And that's a great play by Rafael Furcal trying to bunt against David Wells. You know, another thing about David a couple of years ago, he said he was going on a low carbohydrate diet by going to light beer. However, he has since given up the stuff, and the first thing to do is to test him and make the big man move around. So Furcal out on a good bunt, and the batter is Kenny Lofton. If you wonder why the Dodgers have played so poorly, all you have to do is look at the quartet of Lofton, Garciaparra, Drew, and Ethier. What they've done overall, 3 of the 4 hitting better than 300 and 1 hitting 276, but all 4 have really been shut down by Padre pitching. Kenny Lofton, for instance, hitting just 180 against the Padres. David Wells, both feet on the rubber, now rocks and turns, left-handed back with a sinker, and that's low, and he's behind 2-0. We mentioned the fact that Lofton hitting 180, and that has dropped down to 146, where he's hitting over 300 against the league. Garciaparra 209 against the Padres, and the struggle continues for all of the others. 2-0 pitch, a chopper short hopped and backhanded by Gonzalez, and just like that, Lofton is down, and we have 2 out in the first inning. And the batter now, Nomar Garciaparra. Nomar, whose average has come down quite a bit of late, and of course he has plenty to build on against San Diego, hitting .308, but only .222 since the All-Star break. Still carries some thunder in the bat, 17 home runs, 82 runs batted in. Though David Wells looks in, getting a sign, the 43-year-old left-handed deals, and it's in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Though Nomar against Wells, certainly no stranger, and he has had success, hitting .293 against David. Wells ready, and the strike 1 pitch is swung on and fouled away. David Wells, well, I guess the high point of his entire career would be May the 17th, 1998. He pitched at the time the 15th perfect game in Major League history. The Yankees beat the Twins 4-0. And it was only right that he would do it in Yankee Stadium, the home that Babe Ruth built, because he's a huge Babe Ruth fan. More than that, David at one time bought a Babe Ruth cap that the Bambino had worn. He paid $30,000 for the cap and then went out and wore it, pitching one inning while wearing Ruth's cap. Now the 1-2 pitch on the way is fouled off. Of course, it started for David Wells when he was in grade school, and he wrote a class report on Babe Ruth. He owns 3 Babe Ruth signed baseballs. 2 of them, one is on the sweet spot. The other was a 1930 ball that has Lou Gehrig on the sweet spot. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Garciaparra, inside 2-2. And just to conclude, as Garciaparra is going up against the memory of a great pitcher as well as a great hitter. When David's house was built, he has a lot of stuff in there that would almost make it seem like Babe Ruth lived there. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way, and Garciaparra pulls it on the ground to third, backhanded by Todd Walker. Bad throw, saved at the other end by Adrian Gonzalez. So Boomer sets the Dodgers down in order, and at the end it won. The Dodgers nothing and the Padres nothing.
What was that then, so?
Second inning, no score in the ball game. The lights of the traffic on its way into Dodger Stadium on a Friday night. And Mike Piazza, Adrian Gonzalez, and Mike Cameron checking in against Greg Maddux, whose first pitch flipped in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. Piazza has 4 career home runs against Greg Maddux, hitting .282. He's the big gun on the Padre club. 22 home runs, 64 runs batted in. Maddux at attention, both feet together on the rubber. Now the strike 1 pitch on the way, a little slider down and away, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. So Greg Maddux up against a hot ball club. The Dodgers were in first place. August the 10th, they took over from the Padres then. Meanwhile, Piazza hits a high pop fly back a second. Dancing on the grass, Rafael Furcal makes the catch in front of Jeff Kemp. So Piazza pops it up, and we have 1 out here in the second inning. So the Dodgers have done very well at home against everybody but the Padres. Dodgers have lost all 5 games here, but Grady Little also knows that his club has won 16 of the last 19 it's played here at Dodger Stadium. Meanwhile, the Padres come in, and since the middle of August, they are 16-8. So here is Adrian Gonzalez having a good road trip, shows bunt, and takes ball 1. The left-hand batter on the trip is 10 for 24 with 3 doubles. And against Maddux, Gonzalez just 1 for 5. But a very good hitter, .293, 21 home runs, 69 runs batted in, and the left-hand hitter takes off the plate, ball 2, 2-0 the count. So Adrian Gonzalez with 1 out, bases empty. Mike Cameron on deck. No score. We're just starting, top of the second inning. Game 1 of a 4-game series. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way, and it's a fastball off the plate. So he is pitching Gonzalez away. Interestingly enough, Maddux is pitching him away, and for quite a while in his young career, Gonzalez went the other way. He has power to hit the ball into the left field seats. But lately, the last year or so, he's beginning to pull the ball, and he takes high and away, ball 4. So Greg Maddux has walked 2. In looking at his numbers coming into the game for the Dodgers, Maddux had walked 10 and struck out 23, so a little better than 2-1. And the batter is Mike Cameron. Cameron, and this is what happens when you have a ball club that's doing things properly. Cameron was hit on the kneecap Wednesday. There was some swelling. He was in Cincinnati. So they gave him the opportunity of taking Thursday off. He hits a bullet that's speared by Maddux, who throws to first to double up Gonzalez, and that's it. So the proud possessor of 15 gold gloves bails himself out on the line drive. The end of an inning and a half, no score. No score, bottom of the second inning, Dodgers Padres. Maddux made 9 pitches in the first inning and only 8 pitches in the second. David Wells made only 10 pitches in the first inning. So you can understand by one 40-year-old and the other 43 have been around a while. They don't waste very much out there on the mound. Jeff Kent will start it off, hitting .277. Wells ready and deals, and the first one a strike, and the count 0-1. Jeff Kent with 13 home runs, 65 RBIs, had a little 7-game hitting streak ended yesterday when he went 0 for 4. Still bothered by that strained left oblique around the rib cage on the left side. Strike one pitch to Jeff, swung on and fouled off, and the count 0-2. Kent, after every game, has his chest covered in ice, and as he says, matter-of-factly, I'm doing the best I can. And, of course, no one has ever accused him of anything less than just that. He has done very well against left-hand pitching, hitting .348 against left-handers. The Dodgers, by the way, are only break-even against left-hand starters. Strike two pitch on the way. Wells' fastball is low, ball one. We mentioned David's perfect game, and he's a very generous guy. In May, he pitched the perfect game, and in August, he distributed 3 dozen diamond rings worth about $75,000 to all of his teammates, coaches, and many members of the Yankee organization to celebrate the perfect game. Cost them all that dough. On one side of the ring was a likeness of Yankee Stadium and the date. The other side, the New York logo and a little scoreboard which showed the time of game was 4:19 on the final out. And of course, talking about his generosity, David many years ago gave $50,000 to his high school, Point Loma High School in San Diego. 2-2 pitch. Kent chases one down and away, and down he goes. So Kent fools, strikes out, one away. As Kent goes after that pitch out of the strike zone, we can also tell you the Cardinals just took care of the Giants 14-4. The Phillies have defeated the Astros 4-3. Now remember, when the game started, Philadelphia and San Francisco 2.5 games behind the Padres in the wild card race. Wells into the windup now. J.D. Drew has a look at his strike. Of all the Dodgers, J.D. has really struggled against San Diego pitching. Although he's hitting .276, he's hitting .114 against San Diego. The strike one pitch. Wells right back with a fastball fouled off, and the count 0-2. Meanwhile, the crowd continues to come in. It's interesting, the Dodgers thought, well, let's make it a 7:40 game to accommodate the crowd. But here on a Friday night in Los Angeles, you can make it 9 o'clock to start the game, and there'd still be a lot of folks trying to get here. J.D. looks at a curveball low, and a 1-2 count. On deck, Julio Lugo. So the Dodgers trying to win game number 1 against the Padres at Dodger Stadium. San Diego has beaten them 5-5 here. Wells looks in, ready now, into the windup. 1-2, slow curveball is swung on and missed, and down goes Drew. So back-to-back strikeouts for David Wells, getting both Kent and Drew. And with 2 down in the second inning, Julio Lugo coming up. Lugo has a half a dozen hits against Wells in the past, batting .286 against him. For the year, he's hitting .220. Of course, remember, .220 as a Dodger, he did very well at Tampa Bay. Big David ready and delivers, breaking ball, but it's low, ball one. Wells 6'4", at least 245, and 43 years old. Interesting, too, he's been around so long. He's been pitching professionally since 1986. The year before that, 1985, he had Tommy John surgery. So it's a remarkable comeback, and then his staying power has really been amazing. Chopper to the hole, and that's going to go through into left field. A base hit for Lugo with 2 down. So the first hit of the night goes to Julio Lugo, and the batter now will be Russell Martin.
Number 55, Russell Martin.
Another interesting thing as far as David Wells is concerned, walking on Russell Martin, the fact that in the last 4 years, going back to 2002, only 2 pitchers have won more games in the clutch month of September. Randy Johnson 15, then Roy Oswalt 17. David Wells has won 14 in the month of September. So that's one of the big reasons why the Padres got him. And of course the Dodgers had the same feeling. They wanted to go down the stretch in the drive with Greg Maddux, and they hook up tonight. David will look over at Lugo, who fakes, works a fastball hit down to short. Blum on the pick, straightens up and throws him out, and that's that. No runs, 1 hit, a man left. And as David Wells walks off at the end of 2, Dodgers nothing, Padres nothing. No score, 3rd inning. Interesting comparison. Greg Maddux in 2 innings has faced 6. And he has had a first pitch strike to 4 of the 6 batters. Wells has faced 7 batters and had a first pitch strike to 5 of the 7. So that's where it's at, control. And now it'll be Jeff Blum, Josh Barfield, and David Wells. Blum has done a good job filling in for Khalil Green. And Jeff takes low ball 1, hitting .249, 4 home runs, 28 runs batted in, but he has given the Dodgers a bad time. Hitting .409 with a half a dozen runs batted in. He takes a strike. Khalil Green started out having a hyperextended finger, and he was out from August 4 to 10. He returned on the 11th, and on the 13th he was hit on the same finger by a pitch. So he went out again as Blum fouls it off. Then he came back on the 14th of August, but came out again on the 17th. Went on the DL August the 19th. And he was activated September 3, but we understand the only thing that Khalil can do is run. He can't hit and he can't field. Tough blow for the Padres. Blum, meanwhile, a slicing foul ball down the left field line and back into the seats. So Jeff Blum, who has had to play and play well, and he has been equal to the battle, starting 18 of the last 25 at short. And all Khalil Green can sit and watch and wait. So Blum, the father of triplets. And into his windup goes Maddux, and it's golf to right field. Hooking on the dead run is Drew, and catches up to it and makes the catch. Nice play by J.D. Drew. That was anything but a room service ball. It didn't come to him. He had to go and get it, and he was able to spear it on the dead run. So Blum drives one into the right field corner, and Drew runs it down, and we have 1 away here in the 3rd. That'll bring up Josh Barfield. Barfield hitting .283, but he is really trouble on the road. The right-hand hitting second baseman takes a strike. He's hitting .336 on the road. He leads all hitters in the National League on the road. Struggling at home where he's batting only .232. Now the strike 1 pitch foul back, and 0-2 the count to Barfield. His dad, of course, a big leaguer, had a great career with a lot of power. Josh has 12 home runs, 53 runs batted in. So Barfield with 1 out in the 3rd, no score. Last a little more than 2 weeks, he's been hitting .345. So Barfield takes high, 1-2 the count. So Greg Maddux tooling along nicely. No score in the ball game, only 1 hit. That was ground single into left field by Julio Lugo. Maddux ready now, and his 1-2 pitch on the way, lifted into the air in right center, but on the run is Lofton to pick it off. So 2 down on fly balls. So Blum losing a possible extra base hit on a fine running catch by J.D. Drew, and then Lofton getting a good jump on the fly ball. So with 2 down, here comes boomer David Wells. Wells with a big grin on his face. now steps in to be serious, and he is very serious on the field, they tell me. He takes a strike. One time when he was pitching for Toronto, Cito Gaston, the manager, went out and said, "Give me the ball," and he turned around and threw it into left field and said, "Go get it." So he is some kind of competitor, as he has a very weak swing on that last pitch. Of course, at the same time, having been over in the American League, he has not had very many at-bats. In fact, just one, and would you believe he is 1 for 1. Now the pitch to David inside at the kneecaps to drive him off the plate, and Wells kind of looking out at Maddux as if to say, "Hey, what you worrying about?" 1-2 the count. Wells then turns, says something, and grins as he's talking to Russell Martin. Now the 1-2 pitch on the way. Maddux deals, and that's on the inside corner. Strike 3 call. So Maddux records his first strikeout. It's his opposite number. And as Greg walks off at the end of 2.5 innings, no score. Bottom of the third, no score in the ball game. Padres and Dodgers, first place at stake, of course. And for the Padres, also looking over their shoulder, cognizant of the fact that the Philadelphia Phillies defeated Houston 4-3. The Giants lost. So David Wells going to work. It'll be Marlon Anderson, then Greg Maddux and Rafael Furcal. Boomer checks the signs. Anderson, since coming to the Dodgers, 6 for 18, including a home run in Chicago. And Marlon has a look at a big breaking ball off the plate. Ball 1. 1-0. Hitting .281 overall. 7 home runs. 28 runs batted in. No score in the third. Game 1 of the 4-game series. Wells rocks on the rubber. Big man turns, comes right over the top, and gets a strike at the knees. And the count 1-1. We mentioned earlier about the matchup of Maddux and Wells, the fact that they faced each other in the league championship series in '95, and Maddux and the Braves beat Wells and the Reds. Marlon runs up as if to bunt, takes high, and a 2-1 count. They also faced each other one other time, and that would be in the 1998 All-Star game played at Denver, where the American League beat the National League 13-8. So those are the lockups with Wells and Maddux. David Ruddy in his 2-1 pitch is swung on and popped up on the right side of the infield. It's Adrian Gonzalez calling and waiting and one-handing it for the out. As far as wins are concerned, when you're talking about Greg Maddux, he has 330, Roger Clemens 347, and then Glavine at 288, Randy Johnson at 280, Mike Messina 238, and David Wells 229. So one away in the third, and now here they are, nose to nose. Maddux hits one slowly up along first, picked up there by Gonzalez, who decides to take it to the bag, and just like that, 2 down. So 2 out in the third, no score. The ball game, especially now that we're into September, certainly has the feel of a playoff, and with so much at stake, you can certainly understand the feeling here in the ballpark. And of course, at 8:15, we look out back of left field, and we see plenty of automobiles and people coming into the ballpark. And we'd ask you please to exercise some patience. Nothing has happened, and we've got a long way to go. So with 2 down, here's Rafael Furcal, hitting .419 over the last 15 games and hitting .296 for the year. Takes off the plate, ball 1, 1-0. Furcal has really become a leader on the field by example. Among other things, he's hitting better than .360 with runners in scoring position. That's why as a leadoff man, he has 58 RBIs. Chops one up the middle. Barfield to his right goes back to get it, takes care of him, and it's another quick inning. So Wells and Maddux are all locked up. Come to think of it, that's the way you would expect it to be. And at the end of 3, no score. Here's tonight's Aflac trivia question. Greg Maddux, 12 wins this year, has won 13 or more, 18 straight years. That's 1 short of the Major League record. Do you have any idea who holds it? Well, he's getting so very close, you'll find out one way or another before the year is over. So Greg going to work now, and it'll be Dave Roberts, Todd Walker, and then Brian Giles. Roberts walked in the first inning and was thrown out trying to steal. Ball one, 1-0. Dave hitting .300. Fourth behind the big guy in stolen bases, Jose Reyes of the Mets. He has 57. His 12 triples puts him 4 behind, guess who? Reyes. And just like that, he's done, 1 away. Sunday in the Daily News, there will be a long poem, a tribute to Greg Maddux, written by Deborah Mazza. And just a couple of lines from it. This part of the poem: you're a ball player, and Maddux is the visiting pitcher, and he's working against you. Todd Walker, ball one. And this little paragraph reads: you'll swing at balls, you'll take the strikes, the hometown fans will boo you. Your friends and family in the stands will swear they never knew you. And all the scouts who sang the praise that you were stardom bound now say you'll look the fool and like it when Greg Maddux takes the mound. Well, it has the iambic pentameter of Casey at the bat, but it's a lengthy and interesting poem. It'll be in the Daily News on Sunday. Meanwhile, 2-1 the count to Todd Walker, and in some ways I guess there's poetry involved tonight, with both Maddux and Wells doing the dealing. Todd grounded out first time up. 3-1 the count. Todd Walker has always been a good hitter. The question about him has in some ways been his glove, and he is aboard with a walk. Instead, called back on strike 2. Though he stops a visit with Jim Reynolds, the plate umpire. Though he thought surely it was high and outside. Wow. Well, okay, 3-2 the count. Little ground ball down to Percall. 1 away. Now 2. And a reminder, Monday the Dodgers face the Padres at 7:10, and the first 50,000 fans receive a fleece blanket. Compliments of Time Warner Cable. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. Oh, good night, little one. Don't go too far away. Things might happen soon. Giles, a drive into the gap in left center, but moving over Arlen Anderson. So a 1-2-3 inning with a minimum number of pitches from Greg Maddux. And at the end of 3.5 innings, Padres nothing, Dodgers nothing. Aflac! Remember the Aflac trivia question? Greg Maddux, who has won 12 this year, has won 13 or more, 18 straight years, one short of the record. Who holds it? And the answer, Cy Young. And of course, Greg Maddux has won the Cy Young Award 4 times, on the way to piling up 330 wins. Interesting, too, that Maddux has made 39 pitches. That's all in 4 innings. Wells has made 29 pitches in 3 innings. And that's a strike to Lofton. 0-1. Kenny hitting .302, grounded out to Adrian Gonzalez in the first inning. 0-1. Off speed, and it's hit up the middle. The big slow curveball that didn't get to 70 in the 60s, and Lofton bangs it in. So now the Dodgers have a rabbit at first in Kenny Lofton, who has stolen 25 out of 29. And here is Nomar, who grounded hard to Todd Walker in the first inning. The pitching for the other 3 games tomorrow night, Woody Williams and Chad Billingsley. Then it'll be Young and Lowe, and then Monday Peavy and Penny. Ball one. Wells has never been what you'd call a good left-hander holding runners on. We'll see if the Dodgers try to test him. They had Lugo reach on a base hit, but that came with 2 out, and then Martin promptly grounded out. But with Lofton, we'll just wait and see. Kenny has a short lead. Nevertheless, Wells going over there. Kenny kind of peering over at Rich Donnelly. Fastball fouled off. Probably David Wells' closest pal in baseball would be Kirk Gibson. In fact, they split the purchase of a private jet. David took some flying lessons, and he plans on getting his license when his playing days end, whenever that would be. 1-1. Ball 2, 2-1. No score, bottom of the 4th. David is such an interesting character. Among other things, he has an entire room in his house dedicated to his extensive collection of autographed guitars. And I mean autographed by Bob Dylan and B.B. King, Bruce Springsteen, people like that. Ground ball to short. Blum quickly to Barfield. He'll turn it. So Garcia-Parra grounds into the double play, and we have 2 down here in the 4th inning.
Now batting, second baseman.
And that'll bring up Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent came into the game hitting .500 against David Wells, 6 for 12. Two down, bottom of the 4th, no score. Snap that fastball low. He doesn't throw any harder than Greg Maddux. Maddux had his fastballs at about 82. Wells hit 84 on the gun. It's all a matter of control with these two. 1 ball and no strikes. Ball 2. Maddux started pitching professionally in 1986 at Pittsfield. David Wells started pitching in 1986 briefly at Syracuse. Then he went to the Sally League. So they have really been blessed. Maddux 40 and David 43. Wells, by the way, was born here in Torrance. Then grew up in San Diego. Makes his home in Clearwater, Florida. 3-0. And they let Kent swing. 3-1. Jeff with 13 home runs, 65 runs batted in. No score, bottom of the 4th. And he walks him. So Wells walks his first man. Maddux has walked 2. And the batter is J.D. Drew.
Right fielder, J.D. Drew.
Drew hitting .275. No runs, 2 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, no hits for the Padres. And we're in the 4th. Fastball whacked to center on his horse, going back after it and is over his head. Cameron picks it up, gets it in. Here comes Kent. Here's the throw to the plate. He is safe as the ball gets away from Piazza. And the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. So the 2-out walk followed by the double as Cameron has to go to the wall, but it's over his head. And the Dodgers break through and lead 1-0. The ball didn't bounce back to Cameron. Instead, it just stopped at the base of the wall. And the hurried wide throw, there was no play at the plate, really. So Kent scores from first on the 2-out double by J.D. Drew. 1-0 Dodgers, and here is Julio Lugo. That's a strike, 0-1. Lugo singled through the shortstop hole into left field. 1 for 1 tonight. Big fall off with the Devil Rays hitting over 300 as a Dodger 227. 0-1. Breaking ball in the dirt. Nice block by Piazza and Drew holding. 1 ball and 1 strike. So David Wells gives up a run here. Lofton singled. Garciaparra hit into a double play. Then the 2-out walk to Kent, who scores when Drew hits one over Cameron's head. And Jeff scoring from first. 1-1 to Lugo. Fastball for a strike. Wells, coming into this game, had been in 2 games and worked 11 innings. He had 4 strikeouts on 1 walk. And over in the American League, he only walked 8. His strikeout to walk ratio over there 3-1. So you bring it up because what has put him in a hole right now was the 2-out walk that was cashed in. 1-2 to Lugo. Drew with his 29th double gets the Dodgers on the board. 2-2. And the fastball's 83, 84. I think he's hit 85 once. Bruce Bochy, meanwhile, in pursuit, and at the same time trying to stay ahead in the wild card race. Grady Little knows what it's like to be in a tough pennant race, that's for sure. In the dirt, nice block by Piazza. So Michael has smothered a couple back there. 3-2 the count to Lugo, and Russell Martin on deck. So Drew looking for a ride home. 3-2 with 2 down. 1-0 Dodgers, bottom of the 4th. Fastball line to right coming up, and having to play it on a hop is Giles. Throw to the plate, not nearly in time, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead. So Julio Lugo 2 for 2 tonight. Coming into the game, he was hitting .286 against Wells anyway. And Drew gets a hero's welcome as he knocks in one and scores another.
Catcher, Russell Martin.
So the Dodgers out in front 2-0, and Russell Martin checking in against David Wells. When Greg Maddux and David Wells were just starting to be professional pitchers, Russell Martin was 3 years old. He's catching one and hitting against the other. So Greg Maddux staked to a 2-0 lead, and Lugo can tell the grandkids he's been hitting .348 against David Wells. That's a strike. Wells throughout his career has won 20 games only once. That was 6 years ago with the Blue Jays. He was 20-8. He also won 19 games with the Yankees 4 years ago. Ground ball to the hole, base hit. Lugo will stop at second. So the Dodgers, with 2 out, have a walk and 3 straight hits and 4 hits in the inning. And the batter now will be Marlon Anderson. Darryl Balsley has gone out to talk. Letter high fastball, and Martin really didn't get around on it, but he was still able to find the hole on the right side. So Darren Balsley out there talking to his big left-hander. Lofton singled, and Garciaparra hit into a double play, and then he walked Jeff Kent. Drew then hit one over Cameron's head for a double to score Kent. Lugo singled to right, cashed in Drew, and now Martin is singled to bring up Marlon Anderson. And for David Wells, who had made 29 pitches in the first 3 innings, he's ready to make his 21st pitch here in the 4th. And the runner goes from second on a steal as Lugo steals third, and the pitch to Anderson, a strike. So for Piazza and Wells, and remember we mentioned Wells does not hold runners on well at all, and Piazza, by the time he realized it, Lugo was into the bag. So first and third, 2 down. 0-1 to Marlon. So a fellow who played a lot of infield for Philadelphia, facing David Wells. And when Marlon was playing the infield for Philadelphia, his license plate, appropriately enough, read Turnin' 2. But for the Dodgers, he'd been playing left field. 1-1. 2-1. And all of a sudden now, Wells, fighting his control, could be fatigue in the inning. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bruce Bochy, of course, has to be concerned. A walk followed by 3 straight hits. And now he's behind 3-1. On deck, Greg Maddux, who is not a bad hitter. Two runs, 5 hits for the Dodgers. 4 hits here in the inning, plus a huge walk. Fouled off. 3-2. So with a full count and 2 down, Russell Martin will be going from first. Marlon reminded by Mariano Duncan. This will be a big pitch, certainly for David Wells. Martin goes, and it's a chopper to the right side, right to Adrian Gonzalez, and that's it. However, the Dodgers pick up 2 in a hurry and lead 2-0. Pitching them through 4 innings, as you can see, Greg Maddux has not allowed a hit. The Dodgers leading 2-0. Interesting in the pitch count, because Wells was doing well, but he made 26 pitches in the 4th inning. So now he has spent more of his bullets than Maddux, who will work on Piazza, Gonzalez, and Cameron. Strike. 0-1. Mike, a towering pop fly behind second base in the 2nd inning. He has 4 home runs in his career against Maddux. That's a strike. 0-2. Little fastball with late sink to it. It was only 81 miles an hour. But that's Maddux. 0-2. Piazza batting .281. Off speed. That was a 60-mile-an-hour curveball. If nothing else, it just makes the hitter think about it. Obviously, the umpires made the deal 66 degrees at the start of the game. You can blow on your hand while on the mound. No penalty. Hopper to Kent. And And that'll do it for Piazza. He's 0 for 2. 1 out in the 5th inning. And the batter, Adrian Gonzalez. Gonzalez threw a walk in the 2nd inning. And then so far the key play for San Diego. Mike Cameron hit a line drive, speared by Maddux, and the Gold Glove turned it into a double play. One out, 5th inning, 2-0 Dodgers. Ground ball, that's right at Garcia Parra, so 2 down. And the batter will be Mike Cameron.
Center fielder Mike
Cameron, we mentioned his last at bat on Wednesday was hit on the knee, and then Thursday the knee was slightly swollen. So Boshi said to him, you can have the day off if you want, and Cameron said, no, I want to play. And don't you know, he had the key base hit to beat Cincinnati 4-2. Mike hit that line drive that was speared by Maddux. Ball 1. And ball 2. Mike Cameron, you may remember last year in August in San Diego, was in a horrific collision with Carlos Beltran. He was playing for the Mets. I mean, he really busted up his face. Ball 3. Mike was an all-star 5 years ago, playing over in the American League for Seattle. On deck, Jeff Blum. That's a strike. 3-1. Maddux walked Roberts to start the game, and he walked Gonzalez. It looked like another walk to Todd Walker in the 4th inning, but instead Jim Reynolds called it a strike. And that's a strike. 3-2. So Mike Cameron working on a full count with Maddux. Cameron out of LaGrange, Georgia. And Maddux trying to get him with 2 out. And there's ball 4. That would be the 3rd walk given up by Maddux. And the batter will be Jeff Blum.
Shortstop Jeff Blum.
Greg has reached 50 pitches. Watch Greg's body language. He's a little annoyed. See him scraping the dirt. He thought he should have made a better pitch. If he averages less than 2 walks per 9, well, here he is. He's already walked 3 in 4 2/3 tonight. Ball 1. Blum hit one down the right field line that looked like it was going to be an extra base hit, and J.D. Drew was able to catch up to it. And with the runner going, Martin's throw, he's in there. So Mike Cameron able to get a jump and steal. And he is certainly no slouch at it. He has now stolen 23 out of 31. Throw a little high, and by the time the tag came down, and then for good measure, Raphael dropped the ball anyway. So Cameron with a stolen base, and Blum now trying to pick him up. And so Maddux now goes 3-0. So he hasn't allowed a hit so far in 4 2/3 innings. But he has also been fighting his control. 3 walks, and he's behind 3-0 to Blum with Josh Barfield on deck. That's a strike. Three and 2. Maddux and the Dodgers leading 2-0 here in the 5th inning with 2 out. Jeff Blum trying to get the Padres on the board, and Mike Cameron out there at second base. Blum went to school at Cal. He's from Northern California. And a nice ground ball. Garcia Parra to the bag, but they're ruling it foul. On the line is Kerwin Danley. So Blum will come back and try it again. You have Jim Reynolds behind the plate, Kerwin Danley at first, Tim Welke at second, Gary Cederstrom at third. And a new ball put in play. With the Padres having beating the Dodgers 11 of the last 12, Padres have scored twice as many runs as the Dodgers. And with runners in scoring position, the Padres have hit over 300. And a fly ball, J.D. Drew is there. So Maddux might be fighting his control a little bit, but he is winning, and he is not allowed a hit. And at the end of 4 1/2, 2-0 Dodgers. Dodgers lead the Padres 2-0, and you see those zeros. The Padres are still looking for a hit. And in the bottom of the 5th, Maddux, Furcal, and Lofton. Walker in on the grass. Ball 1. Maddux annoyed with himself walking 3. And it was a walk that really began David Wells' problems with 2 out in the 4th. Fastball hit the straightaway center. Cameron is there. 1 away. You know, friends, tomorrow the Dodgers and Padres at 7:10, and members of the 1981 team will be on hand to commemorate the 25th anniversary of their World Series victory. That'll be a pre-game ceremony presented by Bank of America. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com or call 866-DODGERS. The boys from 81 with Rick Monday and company. Jerry Royce will be there. We saw Steve Sachs. It should be fun to see them all. Ball 1 to Rafael Furcal. Tried to bunt on Wells, and David threw him out, and then he grounded out last time up. They pull up the corners, both Gonzalez and Walker, looking for possible bunt again. Instead, ground ball up the middle, base hit. So the Dodgers come up with their 6th hit against David Wells. With Furcal at first, it'll be Kenny Lofton. And of course, Furcal is another rabbit. He's stolen 34 out of 45. So the Dodgers with speed atop Furcal and Lofton. Lofton grounded out and single to center. Dodgers 2, Padres nothing in the 5th. Ball 1. So Kenny checking just to see if there might be a play on. David Wells. How good a pitcher has he been? Well, among other things, the Blue Jays traded Roger Clemens to the Yankees to get David Wells. One ball and no strikes. Ground ball, just foul. Boy, that was close. So Furcal goes back to first, right on the line. Gary Cederstrom in perfect position to call it. You know, earlier we mentioned about David Wells and his fascination with Babe Ruth. In his home, he has French doors leading to Boomer's bar, to his 2nd floor balcony that looks over the pool, etched with a drawing of Wells pitching to Ruth. Ground ball to Barfield, the quick feed, and Wells is able to turn it, and the double play to shut down the inning. So at the end of 5, it's 2-0 Dodgers. On this day in 1996, Tim Wallach had a base hit to drive in Raul Mondesi and Eric Karros. The Dodgers beat the Cardinals 6-5 and maintained a half a game lead over San Diego with 13 games left. Let's go back to this one. Josh Barfield fouling the first one off. 0-1 to Josh. Barfield flied to center in the third inning. Two nothing Dodgers in the sixth. And a little fly ball kind of fooled Lofton. It was hit harder than it appeared. When Kenny started to come in, and then the ball seemed to drift, and he had to go back and over to his left. There was a lot of wobble on that thing. The one away, and the batter David Wells, and Wells will not be able to answer the bell. Paul McAnulty coming up, and as a kid he probably had a thrill to last a lifetime. He had just been called up from AAA and hit a pinch hit walk-off home run to help the Padres win a big game. What a way to start this year. Popped it up, and it'll be for call. So Maddux gets 2 out here in the sixth inning, and David Wells is gone with the Dodgers leading 2-0.
Left fielder, Dave Roberts.
And Dave Roberts coming up. Roberts opened up the ball game with a walk, and when he got aboard, he got all the attention. After all, he had stolen 42 out of 47, and he was promptly thrown out. The only Padre to reach second base so far, Cameron walked and stole second in the fifth inning. The Padre attack has been 3 walks, nothing else. So Maddux at his brilliant best with 2 out in the sixth inning, and the Dodgers leading 2-0. Drew doubled in Kent, who had walked with 2 out, and then Lugo singled home Drew, and that's it. 1-1. Down in the Padre bullpen, former Dodger Rudy Cianez begins to warm up, the boy from Brawley. 1 ball, 1 strike. Little ground ball to Kent. So Maddux has this crowd really up in arms now. A round of applause as he walks off. And at the end of 5.5 innings, Dodgers 2, Padres nada. Dodger Baseball on FSN Prime Ticket is brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. Dodgers behind Greg Maddux leading 2-0, putting a lot of smiles on people's faces who are rooting for the Dodgers. For the Padre fans, it has been excruciating. They are without a hit. David Wells went 5 innings, allows 2 runs, 6 hits, walked 1, struck out 2, and Rudy Cianez coming out to pick up. Rudy out of Brawley, lives in El Centro, and was originally a 4th-round pick by the Indians, but he played for the Dodgers in '94 and '95. So he's another fellow who's had a long career, and he will be 38 in October. His middle name, Caballero, we understand, means gentleman, and that pretty well sums him up. And as you can look at him, he is really well put together. He took up weightlifting at the age 15, and he's still at it, working on Garcia Park for a strike. 0-1. Nomar grounded out and hit into a double play. Oh, and 1 to Nomar. Fouled away. Talking about Rudy Cianez and his weightlifting. He got carried away with it when he was with Cleveland, and he worked so hard with the weights in the winter that he got to camp and he was so muscle bound it hindered his pitching. The Cleveland ordered weights off limits for Rudy. Ball one. Garciaparra batting .306, 17 home runs, 82 runs batted in. Second toughest in the league to strike out. One and two. Little ground ball to Blum. So one away here in the sixth inning with the Dodgers leading 2-0. Rudy,
number 12.
has an $800 multicolored tattoo. It covers the whole upper arm to the top of the shoulder. It's kind of an underworld fantasy. Skulls, a volcano, a host of subterranean delights. Well, here's Kent. And probably the pivotal play offensively was the 2-out walk to Kent in the fourth inning. David Wells had given up a single to Lofton, but he had Garciaparra hit into a double play. Then he walked Kent, and all of a sudden the wheels came off his wagon. He gave up the double to Drew for a run, a single to Lugo for another run, and that's it. 2-0 Dodgers in the sixth. In the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Meanwhile, Nomar with Matt Wilson. He might have hurt himself, kind of hobbling a little bit, going down the line on that ground ball to short. And a strike. 1 and 2 to Jeff. Watch him running, Nomar. See him grab the thigh on the left leg. It is a long year. They're all tired. They're all beaten up. Not just the Dodgers. Anyone who has played all year long, you get to the middle of September. Nomar's annoyed at the fates, and is he going to call it a night? It looks that way. Yeah. Well, Garciaparra hurting the upper thigh of his left leg. Ball 3. One out, sixth inning. Dodgers 2, Padres nothing. Tomorrow night, Woody Williams and Chad Billingsley. In the dirt, ball 4, and Piazza will have to go back to get it. Kent holding on. So Cianez walks 1, and the batter will be J.D. Drew.
For the Dodgers,
J.D. Drew struck out in the second inning. So he was hitting about 110 against the Padres this year when he came up in the fourth inning with Jeff Kent, who had walked at first. And he hit one over the head of Mike Cameron. It landed at the base of the center field wall, and Kent, running with 2 out, was able to score. Ball 1. It's a difference to look at Cianez following Wells, not only right versus left, but Rudy throws in the low 90s. Rudy watching Kent. He has 1 stolen base. And ball 2, 2-0. Dodgers acquired Rudy in December of '91 from Cleveland. Then in November of '92, they dealt Rudy to the Rockies and got second baseman Jody Reed. In August, right about the end of the month this year, Rudy signed with the Padres after being released by the Red Sox. Strike. 2-1 to J.D. Drew with the Dodgers leading 2-0 here in the bottom of the sixth. When the Padres come up in the seventh, still looking for a hit, they'll have Walker, Giles, and Piazza. Fouled away, 2-2. Rudy not only lifts weights, but he also works out with martial arts. I mean, rough stuff, tough stuff. He does jiu-jitsu. He does a Japanese Brazilian wrestling judo. He does American boxing. Little ground ball to Gonzalez, to Blum, back to Gonzo, too late. So the force play 3-6, and with two down, Drew at first and Julio Lugo coming up. Lugo single to the hole on the left side and to left field in the second inning, and then single to right field in the fourth inning to score Drew. So Lugo hitting .348 against David Wells, 2 for 2 tonight, and trying to advance Drew. J.D. Drew has stolen 2, but he's been caught 3 times. Ball 1, 1-0. And that's lined to left field. Lugo's third hit. So Julio is 3 for 3, advancing Drew to second, and the batter will be Russell Martin. So Lugo picking an important night to have a big game, and here is Martin. Russell grounded to short, single to right. Starting his 100th game tonight as a catcher. Since coming up on the 5th of May, he has really been a workhorse. So 2 on and 2 out. Dodgers did all of their action in the fourth inning with 2 out. After Garciaparra had hit into the double play, the walk to Kent, then Drew double, Lugo single, and Martin single. Trying to get on the board again with 2 out here in the sixth. Good fastball for a strike. 91 on the gun. Last year, right-handers hit only .212 against Rudy. Hit down the line, slicing as it goes foul. No balls and 2 strikes. They count to Russell Martin. 2 out in the sixth. 2-0 Dodgers. Padres will have Walker, Giles, Piazza, and if anybody gets on, Gonzalez in the seventh against Greg Maddux. Rudy basically fastball, slider, and change. A lot of fastballs. Still 0-2. Rudy is 5'11" and a very solid 205 pounds. 0-2. Fastball. The Dodger theory many years ago, how to throw a changeup, and Carl Erskine had a great one. Johnny Padres had a great change. They taught their pitchers to throw the change as if you were pulling down a window shade. Your arm had come straight down. With Rudy, when he does throw the change occasionally, he calls it a choke change. You squeeze the daylights out of the ball, but you have the same arm speed. Giles will catch that. So no runs, 1 hit, 2 left. We have 6 innings in the books, and so far the author is Greg Maddux. 2-0 Dodgers. Well, we're at that point where you start looking up sidebars, so to speak. Grover Cleveland 373, Roger Clemens 347, and his nibs, Mr. Maddux. All those games without no hitters, and he's starting to look at one. Don't give it much thought, but from the 7th inning on, it's another story. And here's Todd Walker. Little ground ball to Lugo. Didn't have time to set you defensively, but we have one away. Wilson Betemeet is now at third base. He'll bat in Garcia Parra's spot. Lugo, who had been playing third, moves to second, and Jeff Kent, who had been at second, takes over at first. If we get a report on Garcia Parra, we'll pass it along. We do know he felt something high up in the left thigh, the front of the leg. Strike to Giles, grounded out, fly to left. There's really only been one ball so far that looked like it had a chance, and now there's the other, and the crowd groans as Giles singles. The other ball was the ball that Blum hit that was caught by Drew in the 3rd inning. And the crowd standing now, giving Maddux an ovation. He has never pitched a no-hitter, and he's not going to do it tonight. He went 6 1/3 before giving one up. And the best part about it was clean as a whistle. A line drive single to right. Now for Maddux, and of course he's been through a lot, but for Maddux, he has to regroup a little. He had a one-hitter twice in his career against Houston and against San Diego. He had a one-hitter in '97 against the Padres. Of course, at 40, I'm sure he has learned to get over any disappointment and just refuses to give up his concentration. Piazza has popped up, grounded out, 0 for 2. And chopper to short. They're going to get one. Lugo still gets the double play. That's how slowly Piazza ran. Giles did a great job, and Brian still can't believe that Lugo turned it. But for Mike, he's running uphill as hard as he can, and they still beat him. And at the end of 6 1/2, 2-0 Dodgers. Ah, yes, the Friday night enthusiasm. Hi there, young man. And there she is, Nancy B. Heffley, serenading the crowd. Take me out to the ball game. Tomorrow night, maybe you'll join us out here, Woody Williams and Chad Billingsley. Then Sunday, it'll be Chris Young and Derek Lowe. Monday, it'll be Jake Peavy and Brad Penny. And bring along a good voice, although you don't necessarily have to carry a tune. Talking about carrying, Doug Brocail is asked to carry the load now. The third Padre pitcher. It's still 2-0 Dodgers. And a drag bunt fielded by Gonzalez, and the off-balance throw gets away. And Marlon Anderson into second base. And someone shaken up on that play. I think it's Jeff Blum. Yep. On the bunt, Barfield and Gonzalez come together, and on the bad throw, Marlon takes off. And Jeff Blum Well, let's just wait and see. Bruce, and it's Brocail, the pitcher, who is way over there between first and second. How do you like that? Brocail comes in, makes one pitch, hurts his ankle, and looks like he's going to have to leave. So the Dodgers lose Garcia Parra. Here's the bunt, and we'll watch Brocail, and he keeps going, and that's when he hurt it. So that's a very tough break for the Padres and for Brocail. Doug out of Pennsylvania, 6'5", 250, 39 years old. And Bruce Bochy helped the trainer get Doug off. That means, among other things, the Padres will have to go to the bullpen, and the pitcher brought in is replacing an injured pitcher, and consequently he'll be able to make as many pitches as he needs. So they're going to go to the bullpen, and we'll be right back.
And by Infinity, using the power of design to create dynamic, beautiful vehicles.
Dodgers leading the Padres 2-0 in the 7th inning. Doug Brocail hurting himself after making one pitch to Marlon Anderson. So they go to the bullpen and bring in the veteran left-hander Alan Embry. Out of Oregon, lives up in Vancouver, and was originally a fifth-round pick for the Indians. Grew up and went to high school in Vancouver. He is 36 years old, and first came up with the Indians way back in '92. Then he went from Cleveland to the Braves, then from the Braves to the Diamondbacks, then 3 years with the Giants, then the White Sox, then the Padres, then the Red Sox, then the Yankees, and then back to the Padres again. Though Allen will be facing pinch hitter Olmedo Saenz. Earlier, when Brocail was on the mound, Ethier came out of the dugout, but when Doug hurt himself, and they bring in the left-hander, and the Dodgers counter with Saenz. On that bunt by Anderson, base hit and error charge to Gonzalez on that backhand flip that went awry. Ball one. Olmedo hitting .289. He has 10 home runs, 44 runs batted in, and he has been a pinch hitter deluxe. 14 hits, including 3 home runs and 13 RBIs coming off the bench. Blum directly behind Anderson. 1 ball and no strikes. Fastball, ball 2-0. Olmedo Saenz, fully aware of Embry. Fastball, kind of a slurve and a changeup. Allen years ago really threw hard, clocked up around 97. And there goes Anderson to third, and a poor throw, and Marlin steals it easily. The Piazza bouncing the throw. Marlin had a good jump on the left-hander. So Anderson steals third. By the way, Marlin has made 3 starts for the Dodgers, and he has led the Dodgers to 3 victories. And now tonight, he's had a bunt single to go 1 for 3. And for Mike Piazza, well, as the years pile up, the game gets tougher to play. Now the infield is up. And a drive into right center. Giles will make the catch, but Anderson tags up and scores easily. And the Dodgers lead 3-0. And adding insult to the injury, that run is charged to Doug Brocail. So Saenz gives the Dodgers the comfortable 3-0 lead. A bunt single, an error by Gonzalez, then the stolen base, and now the fly ball. for call. Thrown out trying to bunt, grounded out and singled, 1 for 3, and ball 1. So the Dodgers 3 runs and 8 hits. The Padres no runs, 1 hit. And you certainly can't take 1 hit to the bank. That hit a clean single to right field by Brian Giles. Fastball, a hopper to Blum. 2 down. Olmedo Signs coming up with his 14th RBI as a pinch hitter, which leads the big leagues. And Kenny Lofton, 1 for 3 coming up, grounded to first, single to center, hit into a double play. When the Padres come up in the 8th inning, and if nothing else, they'll be glad to know that Maddux is not on the mound. It'll be Gonzalez, Cameron, and Blum. Walker playing Lofton well in on the grass. Lofton 1 for 6 in the past against Embry. When Alan Embry first started as a professional, 2 of his teammates made it to the big leagues along with Alan, Jim Tomei and David Bell. One and 1. Check swing foul. The paid attendance tonight for game 1 of this series, 52,911. 52911. 1 and 2. Fastball got him. So Lofton caught looking, but Embry gives up the fly ball that scores Anderson, and at the end of 7, as Jonathan Broxton gets ready, Dodgers lead 3-0. Tonight for Greg Maddux, he was asked to pitch well, and he did. He had a no-hitter for 6 1/3 inning. Brian Giles beat him with a base hit to right, but that's all. Maddux, using his Gold Glove, turned a double play from a line drive by Cameron, and the Dodgers took advantage of the lack of running speed of Mike Piazza. And so for Maddux, he made 68 pitches, goes out leading 3-0, walked 3, struck out 1, and gave up the 1 hit. So a 1-hitter for the 3rd time in his career, but tonight, of course, going 7. So here's Jonathan Broxton. Jason Repko is now in left field, finishing up for Marlon Anderson. So Jason in left and Broxton on the mound. Padres have Gonzalez, Cameron, and Blum. Ball 1. Gonzalez 0 for 1 against Broxton, struck out the only time he faced him. Two 2-0. Remember, great concern in the Padre dugout as far as the wild card is concerned. Philadelphia won its game. They beat Houston. So a Padre loss, and the Phillies would be 1.5 back in the wild card. And then, of course, the Padres would fall 1.5 behind the Dodgers. So Broxton goes 3-0 to Gonzalez. The preliminary report on Nomar Garciaparra. He strained the left quad muscle high up the front of the leg, and he is listed day to day. So Jeff Kent is now playing first base. 3-0. And that's high. Here's Nomar grabbing the thigh, and he had to come out right away.
Mike Cameron.
Hopefully they caught it, let's say it grabbed and didn't do anything else. So for the Padres, we've always heard a walk is as good as a hit, but it hadn't worked out that way for them. They have 1 hit and 4 walks and no runs. So now Mike Cameron hit a line drive speared by Maddux, who turned it into a double play in the 2nd inning, walked and stole second in the 5th inning, and he is the only Padre to get to second base so far tonight. Oh, did he ever cut loose? That was 96, and Cameron couldn't catch up to that one. 0-1. And another one. Well, if the gun is right, that was 98. Oh, he's throwing hard. How in the world do you catch up to a 98-mile-an-hour fastball? 0-2. Ball 1. For Cameron, a good ball player, but he pays the price. He has struck out 130 times. He has 19 home runs. Of course, when you want to talk strikeout, you immediately think of Adam Dunn. Did he? No, he didn't. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. 130 strikeouts for Mike, not so bad. Adam Dunn has struck out 175 times. Ryan Howard, with 56 home runs, has struck out 161 times. So Gonzalez at first, visiting with Kent. 3-0 Dodgers, top of the 8th. On the hands with a fastball, fouled away. Fighting off a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. So he's had a couple at 96. He had one at 98. 2-2. Three runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 1 hit for the Padres. Three and 2 to Cameron. So Broxton throwing hard. That was 97, but it was down. Broxton, as hard as he throws, his strikeout to walk ratio is a little better than 3-1. Fouled off. Woody Williams and Chad Billingsley tomorrow night. Chris Young and Derek Lowe Sunday afternoon. Jake Peavy and Brad Penny Monday night. Well, right now, Brad just resting and watching after turning in a great effort in Chicago. Well, yeah. All he did was nothing fancy but just keep throwing. 96, 98, and he just blows Cameron away. 1 out. So now Jonathan goes to work on Jeff Blum. Blum a drive to right that was caught by Drew. That was in the 3rd inning. And then later a fly ball to right in the 5th. J.D. Drew ran down Blum's effort in the 3rd inning, and then in the 4th, J.D. doubled in one and scored the other. Oh, 1. And that gets away, but Martin is on top of it. 1 ball and 1 strike. Grady Little, when asked about Martin catching so many games, and Grady said, we've gotten to know him well. There's still plenty of life in that body. So he's in there at 23. 1-1 to Blum. Jeff was originally drafted by the Expos. And a shot up the middle, base hit, broken bat and all. So Blum singles Gonzalez to second, and right now this is the first look the Padres have had at the game.
Second baseman, Josh Barfield.
Watch Blum and his bat split right down the middle, but strong enough to muscle it up the middle. So for the first time tonight, not only do the Padres have 2 on, they have the potential tying run at the plate in Josh Barfield, hitting .282. Rick Honeycutt's going to go out and talk to Broxton. Barfield with 12 home runs, 53 runs batted in, and down in the Dodger bullpen, just in case, Takashi Saito begins to warm up. Of course, the plan has him warming up for the 9th inning. Josh Barfield, hitting .336 on the road when the game began, is 0 for 2 tonight, and on this road trip he has 5 hits in 23 at bats. So he has cooled off up to the moment. As far as Broxton is concerned, Barfield 1 for 4 in the past. And ball 1. On deck, fellow with a great name, Termel Sledge. There's Termel. Getting him ready to pinch hit for Embry. Termel Sledge lives in Granada Hills. 1-0 to Josh. 1-1. Boy, Broxton really came off the mound. Big man in motion. 1-1. Big stride and then flying off. That's not very good form. And of course you forget that Broxton is a kid, 22. So every now and then he tries too hard. 1-1. Boy, he is smoking right now. He hits 98 on the gun then. John is a big man, about 280 pounds. Stands 6'4". Born in Augusta, Georgia, and trying to be a master in baseball. And ground ball for Call. A quick feed for 1 and a wild throw, and that gives the run to San Diego. So Lugo, who had been playing third base, moving around to play second, and his hurry throw is a wide one, and the Padres get on the board. Also not making things easy for him was Jeff Blum. The Blum ties him up, and the throw, Kent at the other end unable to flag it.
Number 8.
So that's what
Termel
happened
Sledge.
when Garcia Parra got hurt. Lugo out of position, Kent out of position. Dodgers missed the double play, and the Padres get a run. So it is 3-1. There'll be an error charge to Lugo. And now Termel Sledge. Sledge went to school at Long Beach State. 29 years old. Originally signed by the Mariners 7 years ago. Had a bad hamstring last year. 1-1. Spells his name Termel with 2 R's and 1 L. How did he get that name? Pretty easy. His father's name is Melvin, so his dad wanted Mel somewhere in there someplace. But the family also liked the name Terrence. So they said, okay, let's combine Terrence and Mel, and you get Termel. Even 6, 190. Left-handed all the way. He's an outfielder. 2 balls, 1 strike. That's in there nicely. Little slider, 88. Well, that's nice. Huh? You throw a fastball 98 and then a slider 88, and you throw both of them for strikes. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. A runner at second, and the Dodgers lead the Padres 3-1. And the crowd trying to lift Broxton out of the inning. Check swing, got him. So by any other name, it's a strikeout. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left. And at the end of 7.5, 3-1 Dodgers. Bottom of the 8th inning, 3-1 Dodgers, and Mike Thompson picks up now for San Diego. He'll be working on Betamit, Kent, and then Drew. That's a strike. Mike is 6'4", 200. Born in Walsh, Colorado. Lives in Lamar. Went to Lamar High School. Boy, Betamit really fooled on that curveball, 0-2. Mike Thompson has labored in the minor leagues for over 7 years and finally brought up just a few days ago. Wilson Betamit hitting .270, 17 home runs, 47 runs batted in. Still 1-2. Dodgers 3 runs, 8 hits. Padres 1 run, 2 hits. An error on each side. Two and 2. Thompson fastball, slider, changeup. Big enough, ideal size for a pitcher. 6'4", 200-pounder. He'll be 26 in November. Changeup. 3-2. And a chopper to third. Walker. 1 away. When the Padres come up in the 9th inning, just to look ahead for the moment, Dave Roberts, Todd Walker, and Brian Giles, all left-hand batters. And then if anybody gets on, Mike Piazza. Jeff Kent struck out and walked twice, and the first walk in the 4th inning against David Wells proved David's undoing. Ball 1. Came with 2 out, nobody on, and Kent walked. Drew then hit one over Cameron's head for a double to score Kent. Lugo singled to right to score Drew. Dodgers added a run in the 7th inning. on the bunt single by Marlon Anderson, took second on the throw that got away from Adrian Gonzalez. Then he stole third and came home on the fly ball by Olmedo Saenz. So that stolen base was pivotal. Instead of 2-1, it's 3-1 on the corner. 1-2. And hit up the middle. So Kent winds up going 1 for 2, and he's been aboard 3 times. Matt Kemp will now run for Kent. So with 1 out, Kemp at first and Jeff Kent coming out. Of course, Jeff bothered by that strained left oblique, and he's had a busy night. 2 walks and a single, scored 1. And there goes Matt Kemp. Piazza's throw offline. Been a tough night for Mike Piazza. Of course, coming into the game, Piazza and the Padres certainly knew that if they got aboard, Dodger runners were gonna run. Well, Piazza trying to come up out of the crouch and make the throw, it just gets tougher and tougher naturally as each year goes by. And his numbers, along with the Padre pitchers, you don't just put the body at the catcher's doorstep. But Mike just celebrated his 38th birthday, and they're now going to walk Drew intentionally. So waiting his turn on deck, Julio Lugo. So JD draws the walk. He's 1 for 3, and here's Lugo leading the pack, 3 for 3. Single to left, single to right to drive in a run and stole third, and single to left again.
Julio Lugo.
So 2 on, 1 out. Matt Kemp at second. J.D. Drew at first. 3-1 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th. Barfield to the bag. It's been Wells, Cianez, Brocale, Embry, and now Thompson. And of course, for Doug Brocale, made 1 pitch, injured, and was charged with a run. And a high fly ball to right center. Cameron is there. Tagging up is Kemp, and he'll move over to third. So Lugo, a long out to right center, 2 down. So Julio's had a pretty big night, playing third and second, and they finally get him. And Russell Martin coming up. Martin grounded to short, single to right, and flied to right. David Wells started, went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs and 6 hits. Greg Maddux went 7 innings, allowed 1 hit and no runs. So the 2 principals right now are very much in line for the decision. Maddux to win, Wells to lose. Russell hitting .289. A dugout view as Martin fouls it off. 0-2. Russell with 8 home runs, 57 runs batted in. On the recently concluded road trip, Martin hit .273. Oh and 2. A lot of pressure on Piazza with a runner at third. Whoop. Ball 1. And did that hit him? I believe so. Yep, right hand. And that'll load the bases. Though Thompson is struggling in relief, basically a starting pitcher. Ball just kept running in. Got him, I thought, on the hand, but it looks now like on the elbow. So the bases are loaded. And coming up now is Andre Ethier.
Number 60, Andre Ethier.
Andre Ethier came out on deck earlier in the 7th inning. He was going to bat against Brocale. And when Doug injured himself, Embry came in, and the Dodgers then switched to Olmedo Signs. And now in the 8th inning, he gets a chance to swing the bat. Marlon Anderson played left field, popped up, grounded out, had a bunt single, and scored. And Bruce Bochy now going to the mound, and let's see. They'll go to the bullpen yet again. It'll be the 6th San Diego pitcher to be called in. Scott Cassidy will be brought in to go head-to-head against Andre Ethier. Mike Thompson comes out, and we'll be back.
Brought to you by Carl's Jr. For big juicy charbroiled burgers, the name of the game is Carl's Jr. And by Ford's Model Year Clearance. See your Southern California Ford dealer today.
Dodgers lead 3-1, 2 out, bases loaded here in the 8th inning. And Scott Cassidy out of Syracuse, New York, and Lemoyne College, who is an inspiration. He was pitching for Tennessee 6 years ago, and he told his team management just didn't feel well. He was losing weight. They checked him out, and he had juvenile diabetes, so he has to inject himself daily with insulin. However, to his credit, he has been able to fight his way right to the big leagues. And what a spot with the bases loaded. He has Kemp, Drew, and Martin, and a strike to Andre Ethier, batting .320. Ethier has been struggling. They all do. He was 1 for 19 on the road trip. That translates to 53 cents. But Grady Little understands what happens to some of these young players. They're not accustomed to playing this late in the year. Most of the time the minor league system is over. And of course he was in there day in and day out, and it takes its toll. Russell Martin knows all about it. J.D. Drew at second, Matt Kemp at third. 1-1 to Ethier. 11 home runs, 54 runs batted in, 1-2. One of the toughest things for a youngster to get over once he signs a professional contract is to play this game every day. A whole new world. 1-2. And a slicing drive, and Cameron makes a somersault play. What a time to do it. And Dave Roberts making sure that Mike is okay. So Cassidy comes in saying, well, I got my man. He sure did. And Cameron very slowly coming off the field after a great effort. And we are heading for the ninth. Dodgers 3, Padres 1. Dodgers trying to hold on to a 3-1 lead. Andre Ethier robbed of an extra base hit and a couple of RBIs on that diving catch by Mike Cameron. Andre stays in the game in left field. Dodgers need a first baseman, and they've got one. James Loney will take over for Jeff Kent. And on the mound, Takashi Saito, the man from Miyagi. He has been absolutely phenomenal. One earned run in his last 19 innings.
Now playing first base.
And Saito has an earned run average of 1.9. That's the lowest among all National League pitchers who have worked 55 innings or more. He is 18 for 20 in save opportunities. He is 3 saves shy of Brazoban's rookie record of 21. Yancey said that last year. Saito will be facing Roberts, Walker, and Giles, all experienced left-hand hitters. And the Dodgers pull up the corners looking bunt as Walker loosens up. And ball 1 to Dave, who led off the game with a walk but was thrown out stealing. Then twice grounded out. All of his at-bats were against Maddux. That's a strike, 1-1. Takashi Saito. And Roberts 1 for 4 against him. Saito is 36, 6'1", 200-pounder. There's the slider, but he missed ball 2. 2-1. Over in Japan, Saito was basically a middle reliever. And remember, he couldn't make the ball club in spring training. Of course, the entire Dodger bullpen has been changed over since spring training. 2-1. That's a strike. Saito's strikeout to walk ratio is better than 4-1. Two and 2. Slider. Shakes up the Padre bench. All the guys draped on the railing. 2-2. There they are like birds on a wire. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball. Got him, and Dave can't believe it. So Roberts called out. Take a look at the location. Whoa. And you can see Martin lifted, and Rabe said, no way. Bruce Bochy watching. Terrible, I think he hollered while chewing on his gum. So 1 out, and here's Todd Walker. Ball 1. In all honesty, it looked like Walker got a bad call. In the 4th inning, it looked like ball 4. They called it a strike, and then he grounded out. Strike. 1-1. It's a big series, as you know. Jim Reynolds is the plate umpire. Went to the University of Connecticut. Jim's been umpiring for a little over 7 years. Big game, every pitch, every call, so important. Well, Gonzalez, Chris Young, all the Padres taking it in. Breaking ball, but it was up. A slider almost got it, and the crowd groaning. 2-2. 52,911 here tonight. Slider away. 3-2. Tomorrow night, Woody Williams, a veteran, and the kid, Chad Billingsley. Three and 2. And it was a slider. That's the thing. He'll throw that slider any count. So all Saito does is strike out Roberts and then strike out Walker. Look at the break on that thing. And, of course, Martin is very busy moving that glove around. Russ makes an awful lot of pitches look like strikes. And this crowd on its feet now with Brian Giles. Ball one. Padres had beaten the Dodgers 11 of the last 12. They had beaten them all 5 times here. And the Padres now find themselves really in a switch. The Dodgers win. They will be 1.5 in front. But the Phillies will be just 1.5 back of the Padres in the wild card. 1-1. Little ground ball. Loney leaves the bag, throws to Saito, and there you have it. So the Dodgers got a magnificent performance from Greg Maddux. A no-hitter for 6. He technically went 6 1/3, and a full 7 for 1 hit, no runs. He's the player of the game, of course. And for Greg is now 4-2 as a Dodger, and his earned run average here at Dodger Stadium is really dazzling. I mean, Maddux on the mound at Dodger Stadium is something to see, and he punishes the Padres tonight. Coming into this game, Maddux had an earned run average of 1.5 here at Dodger Stadium, and he improved on that. For Saito, he made only 15 pitches. And here's the way it shapes up. The Dodgers now a 1.5 game lead on the Padres. But in the wild card, here come the Phillies, 1.5 back of San Diego. So it'll be a tough night for Bruce Bochy and a restful night for Grady Little. And then tomorrow night, Woody Williams and Chad Billingsley.